of the Dark Continent, which, I know seems like an awfully impossibly long time away, but perhaps something could happen along the lines of our characters return to the human realm and discover that Gyro has ravaged the entire human world thoroughly with evil and have to stop him. Or perhaps Gyro's story plays out simultaneously with the Dark Continent arc, so while everyone else is away, it falls to Gon and maybe Killua to face off against Gyro in the human realm. Whatever the case, Togashi almost certainly had a very clear idea of how Gyro was going to be used in the future, but this being Hunter x Hunter, I have to admit that he could easily change his mind at a whim. He may have gotten bored of the idea, or he might just think that there's no chance of getting to the point where it comes to fruition. And actually, it's not like this whole Gyro thing was always guaranteed to go somewhere, because Hunter x Hunter did have a natural ending with Gon and Jing. Even Togashi stated that he has effectively ended the series once, and often thinks that maybe he should have just left it there. But the story keeps going, and as a result, we will keep questioning its future. And Gyro is one of those questions that, rather unfortunately, may never be answered, which is a shame because from everything we know about him, he has the potential to be one of the most interesting antagonists in the entire series. He would be an exploration of what it really means to actually be evil, and it's the sort of idea that I know Togashi would be able to rock, and a great way to cap off the series. But whether or not this ever comes to fruition, always remember that this man, well I guess not a man anymore, because even when he was human, he didn't consider himself a man, so always remember that this force of pure evil is lurking within this world, and whether it happens in front of our eyes or not, he is going to unleash quite literal hell on earth. But that pretty much does it for this discussion on Gyro. If you enjoyed this video and the content this channel produced in general, please do consider donating to the World Review Patreon, because the support of all of you amazing people is what continues to make this channel possible. And if Patreon isn't quite your style, then please do leave this video a like, share, or subscribe, because it also helps support this channel an incredible amount. And if you'd like to join the fun at any time, then please do head over to my Discord server, where a wide array of shenaniganry takes place on a daily basis. And finally, please do comment with your thoughts on Gyro and his potential future in Hunter x Hunter. This has been the New World Review, and I'll see you next time.
Ready?
3, 2, 1, go.
Dead.
You're not.
Hold on. Bro, I can't see his head.
Yeah, it is.
Hello everyone, it's your host Seth the Programmer. Today I'm finally going to be talking about Hunter x Hunter on the channel. So we'll be taking the entire Phantom Troop, and by entire I'm referring to an almost composite variant of it, including Krollo, Nobunaga, Phaeton, Machi, Finks, Franklin, Shizuku, Bonolenov, Hisoka, Shalnar, Pakunoda, Uvagin, and Kortopi, Kalato, and even Illumi, Zoldyck included, as Illumi joins a little later on in the manga and pitting them against the king of the Chimera Ants, Meruem. Some people might think this is a mismatch. Maybe you think Meruem absolutely obliterates the troop. Maybe you think Hisoka alone is enough to put up a good fight against him. Regardless, I think it's very good for talking about inverse Hunter x Hunter scaling, as there's so much ground to cover and different things you have to acknowledge for this topic. In all honesty, it's just the best topic you can really do to show how the power scaling and the ceilings work in the show. So without further ado, let's begin. First things first is the Hunter x Hunter, Akatsuki, or Espada, the Phantom Troop. Now, unlike the Akatsuki and the Espada, which are actually established with specific combat goals in mind, such as being able to take down Jinchuriki with teamwork or potentially help Aizen fight Shinigami captains, the Spider has no real specified level of strength you have to be at to join. There are some things you have to do to join if you want to though, and that's usually being selected by Krollo if there's a vacancy or defeating a member currently in it, so you could argue most of the people in the troop are more than likely significant enough that Krollo trusts them with the very existence of the Spiders and to help him with his plans. However, one thing you'll notice is that there is a huge gap of strength between the members, and this is pretty exaggerated in current Hunter x Hunter, and spoilers for anime-only viewers, when Hisoka starts killing troop members. Now, the Phantom Troop does have a strength hierarchy, but they don't have a combat hierarchy. In terms of strength, the manga gives a list of those that win the most consistently in arm wrestling, which I'll show on the screen now. Obviously, characters like Uvagin, who can punch with the force of a small missile, as stated in Uvagin's manga description page, is considered the physically strongest as he's a master enhancer, whereas the others specialize in other things. But this doesn't mean there isn't a massive strength gap for those that aren't enhancers, such as Hisoka pretty much off-screening Kortopi so fast that nobody even heard them battle, and the implication that Hisoka killed Shalnark in possibly one attack or so,
Special
although
pensions
it's
are up by
argued
mid.
Shalnark didn't have his
Okay.
men ability by some, or even
Going left.
Hisoka easily manhandling Machi with his bungee jump. This is better defined in the data books as 3 combat stats: skill in combat, physical ability or athletic skill, and your overall Nen and Nen ability. So someone like Cortopi, who's a 3 out of 5 in all of these areas, gets absolutely
Three,
flattened
two,
by a character
one,
like
go.
Hisoka, who is a 4 in all of these areas. There are exceptions such as Kurapika and others who can amp themselves, such as the Scarlet Eyes and Emperor Time Absolute Mastery. There's also usually debate over the credibility over the Hunter x Hunter data
Don't
books.
go yet.
There's actually a
Okay.
few of them. There isn't just
3,
one at this point.
2,
So
1,
even the
go.
criticism people have is usually only for one of them. However, when it comes to actual character abilities and the scalings, there isn't much contradiction in them, as it's
trying to
very
aim
vague
for
and most contentious
first one I
points and
just
characters,
did
and
not
most of the
fire.
characters are outlined more specifically in the series. I promise I won't be using it as my only evidence throughout the video, but mainly as a supporting point. A lot of people also usually have a
What?
saying that Hunter x Hunter has distinct power
Okay.
skills. I'd like to heed the advice of Morel in this case, which Morel doesn't believe aura level defends a fight, which it doesn't inherently have to. Morel is a great example of using their 300 big brain fight IQ to win a battle in the series, but as Killua later challenges, if you have so much aura that it makes your opponents look like it doesn't exist in comparison, it does definitely put the battle in your favor. This is obviously outlined with the Royal Ants and the Chimera Ant arc in general, but we'll go over more about them later during the Metarim segment. But it's also pretty self-evident throughout the series. I mean, take a human who does have aura versus one who doesn't. You can see why Morel's logic, while not inherently wrong, is questioned by Killua and doesn't ease his anxiety about Neferpitou. This is also debunked when Gon fights 2 Chimera Ant officers, and despite them using amazing teamwork and their biological advantages and hitting Gon dozens of times without him hitting them once, his far superior aura and talent allows him to tank all the attacks with barely any damage and take out the officers in almost single attacks in retaliation. Now, while the physically strongest of the troop can vaporize large portions of the earth and can easily overpower super bazookas that can take out tanks without any effort at all, many of the other troop members are still kind of lacking. An example, Shalnark is one of the weakest members of the troop, ranking in at number 10 on the list, and during the Chimera Ant arc he was stopped by 2 henchmen of Zazan, Pell and Boku. Shalnark actually struggles with Pell a bit, and Boku is more so a manipulator than a physical combatant type, goes into control Shalnark, in which he goes into his autopilot mode, also known as his last resort, to defeat them, which causes immense strain and fatigue to his body. This is extremely sad for a combat feat, as Pell, the Chimera Ant, you can't even really damage without literally using Super Saiyan, is a Chimera Ant Peon. As a reminder, a Chimera Ant Peon level fighter such as Meleora is stated to be able to get one-shotted by a leader class Chimera Ant such as Zazan. This further reinforces the idea that Hisoka, one of the stronger members and someone listed stronger than Zazan in the databooks, could one-shot Shalnark in his base state, with Shalnark's autopilot mode being able to show to be a Peon in a non-combatant officer Ant of Zazan.
I'll do it.
Take the sniper, take left sniper. You get left sniper.
Energy. This is also bad for
Damage is
Pakunoda
left.
and Cortopi, who are stated even weaker than
This guy's
he is.
weaving,
And
bro.
while Cortopi has a good support
my
ability, such as
sniper's
his ability to clone 50 large buildings, Pakunoda has no good combat feats
Make sure
other
you stay
than
on the
manhandling Gon and Killua before they even properly learn Nen. With
There's
Killua,
there's
even
a-
then being able to snap her arm and
You ready?
bash her
Scion.
teeth
Yeah,
in,
you just
let
go.
alone a John Ken from Gon that can amp his strength by 10 times, that could take out powerful hunters like Yenfru while also getting many more
Oh my
Nen
god.
ants
Oh my
later
god,
on,
so many
such
body
as his
shots.
training with Bisky.
I
Next,
hit
we
all
can go
of
over Nobunaga. We don't really know a whole lot about him other than his ability to instantly foderize and kill Gon and Killua pre-Greed
Tell me when you're
Island
ready.
if they were to fight. Killua also compares Nobunaga and even Machi at one point to Hisoka to help Gon understand the tier of fighters they are, although we don't really know how accurate that is considering Machi got pretty destroyed by Hisoka. You could argue that she was perhaps off guard, as she is stated even more physically powerful than Frollo, could even take lethal attacks from Killua that were destroying Pakunoda early.
I already went, yeah.
Nobunaga was also a teammate
have
of
tether.
Ufagen, and while Ufagen always destroys him when they fight, he was able to fight alongside him and keep up allegedly when
Could
they
be
work
second or
together
third
to have
plate
teamwork.
tether.
Ufagen, the same guy
Oh,
who can
no.
catch bullets
Second.
point blank with his teeth and so
Give me-
forth. Boneleni
I
in his
just
Chimera
threw
Ant fight couldn't pierce the shell of a
What?
nameless Chimera Ant
accidentally
officer
got rid
with
of
his
all of
spear,
my,
and had to resort to his Jupiter Nen ability, in which he claims
Okay,
that
whatever.
sound is
Just
too fast for his
hurry up.
opponent to ever escape from.
Jelly,
This
we need to
Jupiter
go.
power must mean he's large, planet level, obviously, but no, in all seriousness, it does not seem to be all that impressive,
There you go.
especially if it is his strongest attack. It barely does anything to his surroundings and kills the Nameless Ant. It has no real
There's so
AP
much
we
special
know of
on heavy I
besides
couldn't
that.
grab.
If anything, Ufugin's normal punches
I don't have
and
stag
Big
on
Bang
either.
Punch are actually probably stronger than that final resort. Shizuku is in the even worse boat, as she states she was forced on the defensive by Pike, and at one point states she might not even be able to beat him without taking damage first.
This is
Her
it.
ability also doesn't
keep
work
going.
on living beings and can only suck
wave.
Pike's blood after she damaged him, which she struggled to do.
I just
I
swapped
know
the
I'm being a
primary.
tad vague with how strong Chimera officers are, but I'll get into that later. Franklin
No
is
more
overall
ammo.
pretty featless, but he stated he
I'm on
did
outbreak.
fifth physically strongest member, even above
I'm on
Machi
primary.
and Phaeton, but below
got
it.
Ahsoka,
Easy.
Phoenix, and Ufugen.
We got it, 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 we
Similar
got
to
it.
Chimera and Squadron Leader Poster.
You recording?
Was able